Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick from Australia, and welcome to the Nfa Podcast, episode number 3 for your Wednesday night, August 21, 2024. Big show planned tonight. We've got a little bit to go over. Obviously, a lot of good NRL news to talk about. And as always, we've got Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Fanatics, how are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Nick. Hope you're doing well yourself. Hello to all the viewers, and it's great to be back again for another episode of the NFA podcast. It was a great podcast last week with Nathan coming on, but it's just you and me tonight. So yeah, I'm sure we got plenty to talk about in regards to the footy world at the moment. So yeah, it's good to be back on again.
Well, shout out to Nathan for coming on last week, and shout out to Cody for coming on. Episode number 1 there. But of course, and as always, hello to the live chat. We got a bit of a crowd building up here. Hello to Josh, hello to Michael, hello to Jason, hello to Luke, Neutralizer, Jeffrey, Cody, Sport, Music is God, Gene, Rishi, that's our Storm fan, Lockie, hello everyone that's rolling in, Michael Driver, apologies if I miss anyone. I'm just trying to get to as many as I can. Hope you are all well. Also, massive shout out to TBC Live for sponsoring the channel. TBC Live, guys, it is a fantastic app. All you have to do is go onto the App Store, type in TBC Live. It's a great way to interact with fans, and you can predict the outcome of all 8 games as you're watching them live together. You can predict, a 40-20. You can predict a try in the next 2 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever. You can predict a team to run for 95 meters, whatever it may be. Guys, TBC Live is a great way to interact with everybody, and you can banter and you can make some predictions and have a good time. So make sure you guys go and download TBC Live and get around them. Shout out to TBC Live. Fantastic people. Right. And also, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't checked out Warriors NRL Fanatics' YouTube channel, make sure you do as well. Subscribe to him. All the love would be appreciated. But Fanatics, mate, let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get into it, man, and we're going to start off with what is going to be announced tonight. The 14th NRL Immortal is set to be announced. We will find out tonight who the 14th NRL Immortal will be. We probably won't know until the podcast is over, unfortunately, but let me tell you the Immortal induction shortlist. So these are the guys in contention. So Ron Coote, Alan Langer, Cameron Smith, Darren Lockyer, Brett Kenny, Peter Sterling, Laurie Daly, Glenn Lazarus, Bradley Clyde, Jonathan Thurston, Billy Slater, Ken Irvine, and Brad Fittler. They are the names. One of them will be the 14th NRL Immortal tonight. Fanatics, who do you think gets the nod to be the next Immortal out of all of those names?
Well, there's some great names in there. You've got, of course, Cam Smith, one of the greatest of all time. You've got Cooper Cronk there, Inglis, Slater.
Cooper Cronk's not there. Cronk and Inglis are not there right now.
Oh, it says male inductees. Right. What am I reading? Right.
You're reading something else. I don't know, man. Who'd you say? Cameron Smith?
It says Cameron Smith. On the male inductees are Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, Craig Inglis, Billy Slater. It says on the NRL website here.
Well, I've got the Fox League one 4 hours ago. It's just got the it's what the
I might be reading the wrong one.
Anyway, but who do you reckon gets it, man? Because you got to look at guys who you got to look at guys that have been waiting for a long time. Your Ron Coots and your Brett Kennys and your Alan Langers and your Glenn Lazarus, Ken Irvines.
Yep.
I don't know, man. a lot of people probably don't even know who they are that watch rugby league today. But you got to respect the history of the game. And for me, fanatics, the next immortal should be Ron Coote. Now, I know that might be boring for some people, and I understand why, because they want it to be more of a modern day person. But I think you, the guys that have just retired over the last 5, 7 years, they need to wait their turn for me.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of Ron Coote, to be honest. I probably was back way before watched rugby league, but some of these other players included into the inductees for the immortal status. Yeah, look, I mean, Thurston's got to be up there. JT, I know he's the most current of recent players to retire from the game, but I'd probably say Thurston. That's just my opinion. Because I didn't really see a lot of Ron Coote, or those other
Yeah.
players to actually give a judgment. To be honest, but what I've seen of the current players that
Mm,
are retired, like Thurston and I've seen a bit of
well,
Steve Renouf and all those other players, but I haven't seen too much of Ron
well,
Coote.
this is why I think we need to just like obviously we weren't around for the Ron Coote era. We weren't around for Brett Kenny, but I feel like I feel like if you're gonna give it to someone, you got to give it to one of those guys because they've been waiting for a very long time now. But all the people that watch NRL today, they're all gonna say Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Darren Lockyer,
Yeah.
Billy Slater, all these sort of guys. But I think it's too soon to give it to them. I think it is.
Ooh,
Now,
right.
if Jonathan Thurston becomes an immortal tonight, I'll be over the moon and I'll be celebrating. I'll be very happy as a Cowboy supporter. He's my favorite player of all time. He's my he's my goat, man. He's the best player of all time. But you look at the guys that are on the list, I feel like Ron Coote should be next. I don't know, man. For me, if I was in charge, if I was picking it, I would give the next immortal to Ron Coote because he's been waiting for a long time. And sure, we may not have seen him play, but if a guy like him who played a very long time ago is still on the list, I feel like he has to get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can understand your point, Nick. But
Mm,
I would have gone with I would go with JT for me, but and
yeah.
also Cameron Smith as well, which I missed a shout out to Cameron Smith as another one. But
Oh, Cameron Smith. Cameron Smith. JT was better than Cameron Smith.
yeah, I would go
He
with
really.
Thurston though. I'd go with Thurston personally.
Look,
It's
man,
my
like
pick.
if you're gonna give it to a modern day player,
Yeah.
I would go with Darren Lockyer. He retired in 2011, and he's one of the all-time greats. He won a Golden Boot at fullback and 5'8", and he carried the Broncos for so many years. And for me, man, like if we're gonna go with modern day, I'd go Darren Lockyer. But if we're gonna go with how the system should be run and how it should work, then yeah, I'd probably go Ron Coote. But hey, I give it to JT. I'll be very happy. I'll be very pleased. I'll be very pleased. But it's going to be interesting, and we will probably find out probably later on tonight who the next
Yep.
immortal will be. Now, moving on to some NRL signing news. It's been announced today that the Cowboys have extended Jake Clifford for one more year. And if Jake
Mm,
Clifford plays like he did last week against the Raiders, he will be getting a 3-year extension next season. But what's your
yeah.
take on this one, Warriors Fanatics?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think when I watched it back last week, the Cowboys game. I did watch the Cowboys game live. Against the Raiders, and look, I think Clifford played very well. In that game.
Mm,
It was good to see. It's good to see him back. Actually, good to see him back playing, for the Cowboys because obviously he came back from the Super League there, and it didn't quite work out for him over there in the UK. He's back home in Australia. So yeah, look, it's a 1 year deal. 1 year extension. And look, I think it's not a bad move by the Cowboys to sign him for another season. Because of course next year Townsend's gone. And you're looking for your half, and Clifford's going to be your half, I think, for me moving forward. So, um, yeah, it's a good move. I think it's a good move. Albeit it's only 1 year, but look, if he does
Mm.
play well next year, then maybe he'll have another couple of years added to his contract. So,
Tell
yeah,
you
I think it's
what,
a good decision.
Tell you what, bro, when it comes to Jake Clifford, I'm very happy
Yep.
for him. Every game he's played for the Cowboys this year, he's been pretty good. I think there was one game where he didn't really play the best, but
Mm.
that happens from time to time. But let me tell you, Clifford may re-sign for one more year, and I think it's great for him and it's great for the club. But
Yep.
I, I don't think he's guaranteed the halfback spot, man. You got Jackson Purdue there, and I know he's played center and a couple other positions here and there, but
Mm.
he's originally a half, so he will want to maybe try and take that spot as well. You got a young fella named Tom Duffy, who's been playing halfback in Queensland Cup. He's been carrying the Cutters, and they've been dominating this season. I think they've won like 11 in a row. So there's some good young talent up in Townsville, and Jay Clifford re-signing for one more year is probably a good thing for the Cowboys. But when you watched Jay Clifford last week, Fanatics, when we played the Raiders, do you think Jay Clifford? Do you think he adds more points to the Cowboys' team? Like, do you think Clifford adds more points to the Cowboys' attack?
Look, I've looked at the Cowboys. I've watched a lot of the Cowboys this year, and I think their biggest issue has been their defense.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with them scoring points. They can score points. It's about stopping the points, and that's the thing that, I know it's only the Raiders and that, but still, like, to keep the Raiders to one try last week. It was actually a good sign for the Cowboys
Yeah.
because they've been struggling over the last couple of weeks. Well, throughout the season, is leaking points, and that's something I'm sure Toddy Payton, has addressed to your boys quite a lot. Is how they defend. And of course, when you come into the finals, you're going to have to defend your line very well because you're going to come up
Mm,
against some very top quality sides. So yeah,
yeah.
look, I think Jake Clifford. Look, the attack didn't look any different to what it was when he wasn't there. Um, I think that's my only thing I've actually looked at in terms of the Cowboys. So yeah, I don't
Well,
think it changes a lot to the attack. He's definitely added a bit more to the attack, but I think it's
defense is the
still
big
basically
one.
the same. Yeah,
Well,
just
since round 20, right? This has been the Cowboys' defense.
mm,
So they conceded
yeah,
18 to the Bulldogs, who
yep,
are currently fifth on the ladder, which isn't bad. That isn't bad.
mm,
We did concede 22 to the Sharks, although, mind you, they did score a late try on the bell, which didn't really matter, but it was a little bit annoying. We
mm,
did beat the Tigers 48-30, but we did let the Tigers score 30 points, and they scored like 3 tries with 12 men. So that was where the disappointing part came in with the defense. And then obviously,
yeah,
yeah, the Broncos game, we don't want to talk about that, letting 42 win. But last week against the Raiders, you're right. We only let in 4 points. And Jake Clifford coming in on that right edge, defending, and everyone just looking a lot more confident. I think defensively, Jake Clifford probably makes the Cowboys a bit better in defense. Because nothing against Chad Townsend. Chad Townsend's a fantastic bloke and a great player,
mm,
but defensively, that's where teams were attacking us, and it just wasn't working out. So it is
yep.
what it is. Well, let's move on. And hello to the chat. Hello to the king. Shout out to the king in the live chat. Hope you're well, brother. Thanks for tuning in. On to some news about your Warriors, fanatics.
Yep.
Aaron Clark is set to
Mm.
sign with the Warriors. I believe next season he'll be heading back to New Zealand. What's your take on that?
Um, yeah, look, of course, with Jazz leaving, which is, I'm still gutted, still sad that he's leaving the Warriors because, he's served the club for quite a while now, and I think Aaron Clark coming back to the Warriors, potentially, I think it's just a replacement for Jazz. So yeah, look, I'm not. too big on the signing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too big on it because I feel like Jazz Savanga, is a massive loss to the club. Um, and he brings plenty to the table. So Aaron Clark, he's all right, but look, I just feel like it's probably not a signing which I don't know. I just don't think we need someone like an Aaron Clark at the club. I just think that's just my personal opinion on it. I know some people love the signing. I know some people would love to see him back at the club next year, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of mixed. I'm sort of mixed on this one, actually. Yeah, I'm sort of unsure about the signing.
You know
But
what? I actually like the signing, and I'll explain why.
right, yeah,
There is a bit of a rumor. It could be fake news about Dylan Walker maybe wanting to go back to Australia because of homesickness. There's a little rumor of that. I don't know how true it is. Could be fake news. But if he were to move on, and with the rumors of Jazz Tavaga moving on at the end of the year, maybe going to Manly, I guess we'll find out more about that in coming weeks. But
yep,
Aaron Clark would be a very good asset for the Warriors off the bench as a ball playing lock because you got to remember Tulu Harris not getting any younger, Dylan Walker potentially homesick, and then you've got there isn't many other ball playing forwards at the Warriors who are like a Harris or a Dylan Walker. So if Harris were to retire out of the blue and Walker did move on, you wouldn't have a ball playing lock. That's why I think Aaron Clark is a very smart signing, and he wouldn't cost a lot of money either. Like it wouldn't be a signing where it would affect your salary cap in a bad way. Um, if you do happen to land Aaron Clark, which is looking likely, I think it is a great pickup for the Warriors.
yeah. Well, uh, yeah. Look, I can see a point there. But I'm saying it like Jazz is gone and they've replaced it with Aaron Clark. And look, I don't think Aaron
Mm.
Clark's really set the word alight at the Titans.
It's
I
been
know
all
it's the
right.
Titans. Yeah, he's been okay in a way when he's played games for them, but I don't know if he's really, since he's left the Warriors to go to the Titans. Yeah, he hasn't really had one of those big standout games. But who knows? Maybe he can come back to the club and Webby might get the best out of him because Webby's got the best out of a lot of the Warriors players. Obviously not this year, but last year but obviously him coming back
Mm.
home, being in New Zealand, it's probably there's a real connection there. Being back at home, his family's at home, so that's probably
All right, I'll say
one of the
this.
main
I'll
reasons.
say this.
Yeah,
Aaron Clark is a better player than Jazz Tavaga. You may disagree, but that's fine. But
nah, yeah,
Aaron
I don't
Clark
agree.
is
Yeah,
Aaron Clark. I think he's a better player. I think he's got a higher ceiling than Jazz Tavaga as well. I think he does. Ball playing lock, can cover
yeah,
dummy half, and
mm,
he just rips and tears, man. I think he's solid. I think he's probably one of the Titans' better players this year. If I'm honest, Titans haven't had a lot of amazing standout forwards this year with Tino being out, but I think he'd be a really good pickup for you guys. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but it would be
yeah.
a really good. I think it'd be a solid signing. Now, moving on to some other news, man. Thursday night, as we know, it's the Luke Brooks Cup. Tigers
Mm-hmm.
v
Yep.
Manly at the eighth wonder of the world, Leichhardt Oval. Luke Brooks debuted at the West Tigers. I think it was round 24 or round 25, 2013, somewhere around there. And then Luke Brooks was there for about 10 years. He goes back to Leichhardt Oval on Thursday night to take on his old team. Will the Tigers fans boo Luke Brooks Thursday night? What do you reckon? Will they boo him?
I think there will be some booing. There'll be
You do?
some booing. Yeah, there will be some booing there. I don't think it'll be full on booing. There'll be some you can hear some in the background when he walks out onto Leichhardt Oval. Um, yeah, I mean, look, he's played for them in the past. Of course, we know he started his career there at the Tigers. And he's up against his former side. And Tigers fans, we know they can be really loud and passionate. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some booing from Tigers fans. There may be some certain Tigers fans that won't boo him because they mainly respect that he's been at the club before, and obviously he's done the jersey for quite a while now. So over there, but there will be some boos. But I don't think it'll be like full on boos. Like I think there'll be some in the crowd somewhere. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the crowd responds when he walks out there, playing against his former side.
I reckon
Yep.
the West Tigers fans are going to boo the absolute shit out of Luke Brooks on Thursday night. He may or may not deserve it, but I think it's going to happen. The West Tigers fans, if they're upset with something or if they're upset with a former player, they are going to let their feelings know on Thursday night. They are going to boo the crap out of him. You got to remember, Luke Brooks had one great season at the Tigers. I think it was 2018 or 2019. It was Dally M halfback of the year. And he struggled for so many years at the Tigers. And he was supposed to be the man that was going to get them out of the shit form slump, the shit slump the club was in. He was meant to be the guy that was going to carry them to the top 8 and lead them to some success. It did not happen. It was the complete opposite. It just constantly led them to failure after failure after failure. Not all Luke Brooks' fault. Obviously, there were some decent Tigers teams over the years, like 2016, they had a decent season. 2019, they missed the 8 by a game. They had to win last round to make it. So, look, it might not be fair to just blame it all on him, but I think they're just going to give it to him. I don't think the Tigers fans like him. It probably isn't really fair to boo him, that hard, but you know what Tigers fans are like. They're a very hard bunch to keep happy. They're a very hard bunch to keep happy, man. Like 10 years of the same halfback not making the 8. I tell you what, there might be a couple that won't boo him, but I'm telling you that they're gonna give it to him, man. They're gonna destroy him on Thursday. I've got a prediction. Actually, I'm gonna go with this. Fanatics, I want your take on this. Thursday night, right? Tigers Manly. I expect Manly to win and win well. Yeah. I reckon Luke Brooks gets a double on Thursday night and shuts them up. I'm also predicting when Luke Brooks scores one of his tries, he's going to kiss the Manly badge like Mitchell Pearce did in 2019 against the Roosters, or 2020, whatever year it was, and he's going to kiss the badge and he's going to he's going to blow a kiss to the fans. I'm predicting it. It's going to happen. Something like that will happen, or he'll wave to the crowd, or he'll do like a shush to the crowd. Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen Thursday night. I just know it. So, be interesting. But what do you think about that? Luke Brooks double on Thursday night? You reckon it can happen?
I wouldn't be surprised because former players that play against their sides, when they come up against them, they always seem to grow a leg or two. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And I think Luke Brooks has actually been playing pretty well lately. So he's actually doing quite well. Yeah.
Luke Brooks has had a very, very up and down season. Like he started the year off on fire, bro. First 3 or 4 games, he looked really good. Then there was a period there. I think it was about maybe round 8 to round 14. Like he was a bit quiet. There was like a 6 to 8 week period where he was very quiet. Then he had a couple of good games and bad games, a little bit inconsistent. Yep. But Luke Brooks' last 4 to 5 weeks have been very solid. They've definitely been good. So we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you this. This is what I reckon as well. Luke Brooks, at the start of the year, right? Because obviously he went to Manly. I reckon when the draw came out, Luke Brooks got out his calendar and he marked the Tigers game as a game where he must get up for and must have a big game. I reckon he's marked this in the calendar since March. I honestly believe that. So look out tomorrow night. Luke Brooks is gonna want to have a big game, man. I'm keen to see how it goes. Really keen.
Yep, the Luke Brooks Cup.
The Luke Brooks Cup, you might as well name it. Moving on into a little bit disappointing news. Adam O'Brien's future at the Knights is in doubt, man. Newcastle Knights head coach Adam O'Brien's future is in doubt. I read an article this afternoon that when Adam O'Brien re-signed with the Knights last year when they went on that run to the finals, if the Knights this season finish 13th or lower, the Knights can rip up his contract and they can move him on. Now, the first thing I have to say to this is, who puts these contract clauses in place? These clauses are fucking pathetic. I've seen some bad ones in my time, but if you're a coach and you agree to re-sign, but the clause is, if you finish 13th or lower, we can get rid of you. That is so stupid. That's so stupid. What's your take on this, Phoenix? I know you're not the biggest Adam O'Brien fan, but do you think that clause is a bit out there?
Yeah, look, it's a bit odd. It's definitely, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely very odd. Odd to have that clause in your contract. It means it definitely puts a lot of pressure, on Adam O'Brien. I know there's already a lot of pressure as it is, but it puts pressure on him to, you've got to be in there, right? They're basically saying, the club's basically saying, you've got to make, the finals, to keep your position at the club. So that's what they're actually saying. But, look, the Knights have had a very disappointing season. I thought
Definitely
that from last year that them, of course, my boys, I'm disappointed with my boys. They're not up there as well. So, but look, if the Knights, they've got a team right now to be challenging for finals. They should be down the bottom of the ladder. They shouldn't be, where are they at the moment? They're 11th. I know there's still a slight chance of making the finals, but I think they're pretty much done. Last week's loss has probably much killed their season. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Adam O'Brien, since he's come over to the Knights, they've made one finals appearance. Actually, no, they made two finals appearances. Two. So they went back-to-back finals appearances.
Wait, no, three actually.
Three actually last year. Counting last year. Sorry, so counting last year, they've made 3 finals appearances, and in 3 of those finals appearances, of course, last year they made week 2 of the finals. They lost to my boys there. I think the first year, I can't remember where they
were beaten by Souths.
Yeah.
And then I lost to Parramatta up in Queensland because of the COVID bubble.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you look at that, it's okay in a way, but in saying that, like, the Knights, they should be doing a lot better than going through the week 1 and week 2 of the finals. I think.
You know what I reckon? I reckon I disagree with some of what you're saying, because I look at the Knights roster and I don't see a top 8 roster there. I don't. I see a roster that's probably between 13th and maybe 9th. I don't see a top 8 roster. I look at, Kalen Ponga, superstar. But everything else, like, they've got a couple of origin players. But I think what the Knights' biggest problem was, and it might be a bit dramatic for some people to understand this, but losing Dominic Young and not replacing him with much really hurt them, because there were so many games last year where Dominic Young, his kick returns and long-range tries that he was able to produce won the Knights and gave them so much momentum last season. They didn't really replace him with anyone at Dominic Young's level, and they've changed their spine so many times. Like 1 week it's Cogger Hastings, another week it's Price and Cogger, then it's Gamble and Cogger, Gamble Hastings. It's been a tough year for the Knights, but I'll tell you what, Fanatics. I think losing Adam O'Brien, I think that would be ridiculous because he come in. Nathan Brown did a great job rebuilding them. Nathan Brown did a very good job at rebuilding them from their terrible wooden spoon days. Nathan Brown couldn't get them any better. O'Brien comes in, gets them into the finals in 19 and 20. I think, was it 19 and 20? No, sorry. 2020 and 2021 gets them in the semis. 2022, they had a shit year. And then obviously last year they exploded. This year they're probably going to miss it again. But I think O'Brien's done enough there to keep his job. And you know what? I think the Knights have treated him like shit, Adam O'Brien. They've wanted to get rid of him since last year, but they went on this incredible run, and now they want to get rid of him because they're not where they were last year. Like, it's a tough business, but I don't think they should get rid of him. I don't think they should.
Yeah, look, I don't know. It's just me, but I just feel like he doesn't really come across as a coach that, just, like, you've got a Craig Bellamy there and Wayne Bennett and, all these other coaches, they come up as motivators. And I think, Adam O'Brien doesn't really come across as that because, look, for me, when you watch his press conferences, the way he speaks, he just doesn't come across like someone who, can get them to the next level. Yes, you can get them to the, and yes, you can get them to the finals. That's great and all. But you want to get to that next level, and you want to be a team challenging for a premiership, right? You don't want to be one of those teams that just gets into the finals each year
and go nowhere.
Out. It's like up and down. Yeah, consistency.
I'm with you on that because it's good and all to finish 7th and 8th and do some good things, make it the week 2. But if you can't go further in other seasons when your roster gets better, then I see where you're coming from. You got a point. So what you're saying, Fanatics, Adam O'Brien can get the Knights to the finals, but he can't get them much further than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I know he's done all right, at the Knights. So like getting them to the finals is great. You want to be a team that makes the finals every year. But the thing is, the Knights, they've had years where they've been up and down. They've had the finals 1 week, 1 year. They missed the finals the following year. They made the finals. And this year they've missed the finals again. So it's been pretty much up
most likely. Mathematically, technically, there's still an outside chance, but they need a lot of results to go their way. Like, they need Dragons and Dolphins to lose. They need to beat South, and then they need to hope that Dragons, Dolphins lose again next week, and they have to win. And it's a bit of a mathematical thing now, but yes, we'll have to wait and see how all that O'Brien stuff progresses. On to some other news. I read this news earlier today, Fanatics. This is intriguing to me. Fox Sports are reporting that Sam Walker could test the open market November 1st. Now, the Roosters have come out publicly and said they want to re-sign Sam Walker and keep him long-term. Fair call. But if he goes to open market, the Roosters are going to have to pay a shitload of money to keep him because there's 2 clubs that have got their eyes on Sam Walker. One of them is the Broncos because of the Adam Reynolds thing. He might be retiring soon, so they might want to get Sam Walker as the next guy up. Or the other club that may be interested is Manly. Paul Crawley was talking about it on Fox, and he practically said DCE might not be playing in NRL in 2 years' time. If they can negotiate with Sam Walker for 2026, Manly might have a little bit of interest in Sam Walker. And I'd imagine a few other NRL clubs would look at him. I'd imagine the Cowboys would be looking at Sam Walker, maybe for like 2026 because of the Jay Clifford thing. I imagine the Titans maybe because after Foreign might retire. There's going to be a few teams, bro, that are
Yeah.
going to look at Sam Walker. But what's your take on this? Do you think he'll leave the Roosters? Do you think he'll stay? What do you think? Or what do you reckon will happen there?
Well, he is from Queensland, so that sort of plays into the back of your mind there. If you're Sam Walker, because he's probably got a bit of
Hmm.
family back in Queensland. So, the thing is, the Roosters, look, they have a lot of money. They're stacked, the Roosters. I know some people say they aren't really stacked, but they
Oh,
are
that's that.
stacked. Yeah, they're definitely stacked. So I don't know. Look, I can't see him leaving. I honestly can't see him leaving. I think the Roosters will not want to let him go because who do they have next coming through? That's the
Sandon
thing.
Smith is a young one
Yeah.
coming through. He's played a bit of
Mm,
first grade and looked pretty good, but
yeah.
there isn't a lot at the moment. They'd probably, if they like, I'll say this: the Roosters might get away with re-signing Sam Walker, maybe like on less money. But
Mm,
if Sam Walker wants to go to the market, the Roosters are going to have to pay like $1 million to keep him because a team like the Broncos, who have got a good young youth of players like Walsh, Mam,
mm,
Carrigan, Haas, and all these other guys,
yep.
you know for a fact Brisbane will pay probably
Oh,
1.1 million to get him. If Sam Walker does test the market, his value will go up, and the Roosters are going to be like, well, shit. Now we got to pay more to keep him because other clubs
yeah.
are keen on him, bro.
Yeah. And I can see the Broncos getting it. I can see the Broncos going after him and
So
going
can
after
I.
him.
So
Like
can I.
I see them throwing the kitchen sink at Sam Walker there. They'll throw a lot of money at him and try and presume him to come and sign for their side. And of course with Adam Reynolds, you don't know what's going to happen there. Is how long has he got left, right? He's got a lot of injuries over the past few
Yeah.
years. So
Well, bro, let me tell you, when the Broncos were looking for a halfback during the 2021 season, when they were
mm,
just having a shocker, they threw money at Mitchell Moses. They threw
yeah,
money
yeah,
at Adam
mm,
Reynolds, who they obviously got. They were looking at Sean Johnson at one point. Um,
yeah,
they were looking at everyone, bro. And they ended up getting they ended up getting Adam Reynolds, but like they were keen on Moses, bro. So you got to think when Adam Reynolds does retire, the Broncos are going to throw shitloads at Sam Walker, bro.
mm.
Shitloads. They're going to do it
Do
for sure.
just a question, Nick. Do you
Yeah.
see the Dolphins maybe potentially chasing after Sam Walker?
I mean, there's a possibility there. I mean, they just re-signed Isaiah Katoa, who
Yep.
seems to be their future halfback. But hey, him and Sam Walker together could be like the two next young halves of the NRL going like together. Like that could work out really well. Um, the reason why I threw the Cowboys in there as a possibility is because you got to remember too, like if Jake Clifford he only re-signed for 1 year, the Cowboys could maybe look at him November 1, Sam Walker, and be like, "We want you
Yeah.
for 2026." We've seen it before, bro. Remember Ben Hunt at the end of at the start of the 2017 season, he said he was going to the Dragons, and he played the whole 2017 season at Brisbane. Then he went to
Mm,
St George for 2018. So these things do happen quite a bit. But
yep.
I feel like if Sam Walker did leave Roosters, I feel like he'd go. I feel like he'd go to the Broncos. They'd throw so much money at him. They'd throw so much. But we'll see what happens there with the whole November 1st market. Moving on, and then we'll get to the tips. Fanatics, who are the contenders and pretenders of the NRL's top 8? Now, let's have a look at the ladder right now. So, how things are currently looking. Melbourne, Penrith are the top 2. Roosters, Sharks, 3rd and 4th. Dogs, Manly, 5 and 6. Cowboys, Dragons, 7 and 8. Out of all them, who do you think is the Who do you think are the contenders and pretenders?
At the moment, I personally think that out of the top eight, the current teams that I think can win it are the Storm Panthers, and I'm gonna throw in as an underdog. I don't think they'll win it, but I'm gonna throw in the Bulldogs.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I'm
Why?
gonna throw in the
Why the
Bulldogs
Bulldogs?
in there. Okay, well, they're one of the best defensive sides in the comp, so I'm putting
Yep.
them up there. And defense wins you a lot of games. Of course, defense is so important. And also I like the looks of their side, their forward pack, and the outside backs are quite a good mixture of outside backs here. Of course, you got Burden as well playing the ship. So yeah, I mean,
Mm,
only thing I will say with Dogs that can be quite a concern is the lack of finals experience.
yeah.
They don't have a lot of finals experience, and when it comes to the big games, when you're playing against the top sides like your Penrith, Melbournes, your Roosters, you got to have that experience on board. So that's my only issue with the Dogs. And also the fact is, their depth in the forwards probably if they get a few injuries, that is a bit of a worry. And they've had that problem this year. So
Yes.
that's my only concern with the Dogs. And I will throw on Manly as well as another roughie. Because I think if Manly have get somewhere between the top five and top four, I think Manly are definitely a chance of doing something in the finals as well.
Okay. All
With
right.
Cherry Evans there and Tommy Tavorovic, and they've got a good mixture of forwards as well. So yeah, those are my Smokies and contenders there.
All right. Well, for me, all right. This is what I reckon.
Yep.
Storm and Panthers, absolute favorites. They are the two
Yep.
teams. They are the two teams to beat. They are the favorites, and they are the contenders at the moment. Um, Roosters. I'm gonna say pretenders, and I know that might sound like a really big call, but they've only beaten obviously Dragons, but they've only beaten three teams in the eight, bro. Like they haven't beaten anyone else. Roosters, I don't know. I'm a bit worried about the Roosters. I don't go much on them. Sharks, pretenders. I'm telling you, bro. The Sharks are one of the biggest frauds of the eight that I've ever seen. Top four
Oh.
wise, Sharks are the biggest top
Yep.
four frauds I've ever come across, bro. Sharks,
Mm.
pretenders. Bulldogs, pretenders. It's their first season in the finals since 2016. It's a great story. I love what the Bulldogs are doing, but I can't see them winning the premiership. I can't see it. I cannot see it whatsoever. Um, Manly, for me, contenders. Manly are a contender. The only concern I have with Manly, the only small concern I have with Manly is their front row problem. I do not rate Josh Alole whatsoever. I've said this all season. I don't believe in Josh Alole. He's the only one that concerns me. So Manly, full strength, healthy. I think they can do some damage. Cowboys, well, I'm going to be a bit biased here and say contenders, but look who the Cowboys have beaten the top eight. Like, let's have a look for a minute. I'm not going to try and be too biased here. I'm just going to try and give you some facts. The Cowboys have beaten the Panthers, Roosters, Sharks, Dogs, Dolphins, and Dragons. The only team we haven't beaten in the top eight is Manly, who we lost in a field goal shootout to against, and we haven't played Melbourne yet till next week. Yes, the Roosters and Panthers game were Origin affected, but Cowboys are paying like $6 to beat the Roosters, and we still beat them in Sydney. Penrith was a good result, even though it was Origin affected. But you got to remember, we also defeated the Sharks, the Dogs, the Dolphins, the Dragons. We beat all these teams that are in the 8. Manly was a
Mm.
great game, lost to them by a field goal shootout. Cowboys have got the most Origin players in the whole NRL, and I mean, obviously, if the Cowboys get their defense right, the Cowboys get their defense in order, there's absolutely no reason why they can't do something. No reason at all. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I think Cowboys have worst defensive stats in the comp. I don't think that's accurate. I know our defense has been disappointing. I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it is. I think it's like 12th. So it's definitely not great. And who else is in the 8? Dragons. Dragons are not doing shit. I love Dragons. I think they're going well, but I can't see them competing with the top sides. If the Dragons run into a Sharks or a Dogs, they might. I reckon they have a shot at winning, but can't see them winning against anyone great, really. Anyway, that's my list. We'll have to wait and see how it all plans out. All right, let's get to the tips. Round 25 of the NRL. Big round ahead, obviously. A lot to play for a lot of teams. Top 4, top 8. Teams trying to avoid the bottom 4 wooden spoon. Let's get into it, Fanatics. We'll just go through it. Give me your 1 to 12 or 13 plus. So Tigers Manly tomorrow night, bro. What do you reckon about this one? Who do you think wins?
Yeah, I'll just make this quick. I'm going to go Manly 13 plus.
Yeah, me too. Manly 13 plus. Maybe Manly 20 plus, to be honest. Warriors Bulldogs Friday night, the Shaun Johnson Stadium. This will be a good game, bro. Warriors Dogs in New Zealand. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, it should be good. It'll be real emotional scenes there. Shaun Johnson's last game at home in Auckland, so in New Zealand there. Yeah, look, I'll back the boys in here. Yeah, I'll go Wars 1 to 12, but that's my heart speaking more than my head. But yeah, I'll go with what my heart's saying here, and I'll back the boys in here. Warriors 1 to 12.
Mate, I'm with you. Warriors 1 to 12. I think they'll get up for Shaun Johnson. Last game ever in New Zealand. They changed the goddamn stadium name for him. I think Warriors get it done 1 to 12. Warriors to win. What's the Friday night game? Oh, Broncos and Eels. Who gives a shit? If the Eels win, Broncos season's officially over. So a big game. What do you reckon? Broncos and the Eels. Suncorp Stadium.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Broncos. Broncos 1 to 12. Yeah, I don't know. So I feel like with the Broncos, they should be winning this game, but they should be winning at 13 plus. But I'll go 1 to 12.
Yeah, I'll go Broncos 1 to 12. But honestly, would not be surprised if Parramatta won this. Wouldn't shock me. Saturday 3 o'clock, we got the 1990 grand final rematch here. We got Canberra versus Penrith down in Canberra. Yep. No Cleary, no Warriors. Panthers 13 plus for me.
Yeah, Panthers will win and win well. Obviously, they need to still win to keep themselves in the top 2 as well because they've got the Roosters chasing them. So, yeah, look, no Cleary, but still they should win this. I'm going to go Penrith 13 plus, and Jerome Luai will probably have a big one too. So
he will, definitely. Storm versus Dolphins at Amy Park in Melbourne, and I did some research on this one, Fanatics. If the Storm win, no matter what happens to the Cowboys' last 2 rounds, Cowboys will be guaranteed a spot in the top 8. So I am praying that Melbourne win, and I'm going to go Melbourne. I reckon 13 plus, but I can see this being a close game.
Yeah, look, Melbourne obviously coming off that win over Penrith, and that was a good win for them. And they're back at home, and the last time, of course, they were in Melbourne. They lost to the Dragons, so they want to make sure that a result doesn't repeat with the Dolphins getting up. So I'll go with the Storm. Storm 13 plus, but look, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins were competitive at the start of the game, but then Melbourne just too much class and run away with it. So yeah, Melbourne for me.
And we get the Saturday night, the 7:30 game. We got the Dane Gagai Cup. It's the Rabbitohs and the Knights from a core stadium. Knights can still make the 8 mathematically. South's just trying to finish their season off on a high. What do you reckon about this one?
Yeah, I'm actually going with the Knights, but I'm not confident. I'm not confident with this one because it
Yeah.
really is a hard one to read with both sides at the moment. And,
Yeah, I'm
you know,
with you. I'll go
Souths,
Knights.
yeah,
I'll go
Knights will
Knights
win.
1-12. I'll go Knights 1-12, but you never know. Souths could win this. I wouldn't be shocked at all. The Sunday 2 o'clock game on the Gold Coast, Titans and Roosters, the David Fafita Sombrero Cup. This will be very interesting. I'm sure of it.
Yep.
What do you reckon about this one?
Yeah, we'll go with the Roosters. The Roosters should win this. Look, I just don't trust tipping the Titans. I tipped them a couple of weeks ago, and they had a bad one at home against the Sharks. And I underachieved Sharks. So, yeah, Roosters. Look, they're in good form at the moment. So I'll go with Roosters, and they want to keep their chances of a top 2 spot alive. So I'll go with the Roosters here, and Roosters well, 13 plus.
I'll go Roosters 1-12. Just be wary, man. This is one of them
Mm,
games where it's Titans can't make the 8. Roosters looking at finishing top 4. They probably will.
yeah.
It's a danger game, and I think Titans will give them a game, man. I'll go Roosters 1-12. I think this will be closer than everyone thinks.
Mm.
And the final game of the round from Wollongong Win Stadium, the local derby, probably the biggest Dragon Sharks game since maybe 10 years. I don't know. It's been a while since this has been a big fixture. Dragon Sharks at the Gong. This is a big game, Fanatics. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, another big game, especially for the Dragons being at home in the Gong as well. And of course, if they can keep getting their wins, they're locked into finals. Yeah, look, I'm not really convinced with the Sharks. I've been saying this for quite a while. I feel like they're making up the numbers. So
Yeah.
look, I'm actually gonna go with an upset. I'm gonna go with the Dragons at home.
Ooh, righto.
Yeah. I know Dragons.
Righto.
I know the Dragons' form has been win loss win loss win loss this year. It's
Yeah.
been so up and down that you just can't get a read on the Dragons. But I don't know. I feel like the Dragons, at home, it's a big occasion. They've got to get up for this one because they can't afford to lose a couple of games.
Well, it's a
Um,
big game. It's a really
yeah,
big game. I'm
big
going to go to the
game.
Sharks.
Yeah.
Sharks 1-12, but not confident. Not
Mm,
confident at all. All right. Well, they're the tips
yep.
done, and that's pretty much the podcast wrapped up for another Wednesday night. Fanatics, bro. Thank you very much as always. Fantastic show tonight, and mate, good luck in that Warriors Dogs game. I know that's going to be an emotional game for a lot of Warriors fans. So all the best on Friday nights.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me on. I thought it's been a great podcast, and yeah, looking forward to Friday night, of course, with my boys taking on the Dogs here, and hopefully we can get a win for Sean Johnson his last game in New Zealand. So
I hope you
yeah,
win for him, bro. Hope you win for him. Sean Johnson deserves to win his last game in New Zealand. So I hope you get it done,
yeah.
honestly. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go check out Warriors and Arrow Fanatics' YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're going to get on out of here. Enjoy your Wednesday night. See us tomorrow night for the Thursday night review between the Tigers and Manly. But until then, have a good night, everybody, and see you tomorrow.
See ya.